in lower fuel bills. First then, drain the central heating system and open the valve on the radiator. To remove the valve, 2 spanners will be needed, one to steady the valve, one to undo the tail. This avoids any unnecessary strain on the valve or pipework. Always use a dust sheet, as there's usually a bit of water left in the pipework. Bear in mind that some thermostatic radiator valves are not compatible to the radiator valve tails. If this is the case, it will have to be removed. Remove all the components. Check to see if it fits on the flow or return. Assemble the valve and tail. Decide which way fitting is preferred, following the manufacturer's guidelines. You will need to wrap PTFE tape around the thread of the fitting. A good quantity will be required, as this will help to make a watertight seal. Now fit and tighten as before. Apply some sealing paste to both threads on the valve. Reassemble, and finally tighten up with spanners. Use the second pair to steady any movement or prevent any strain to the valve or pipework. Secure the head of the valve and refer to manufacturer's guidelines on temperature control. Replacing a radiator. There are various reasons for replacing a radiator. For example, damage, rusting, changing from a single to a double, and so on. Radiators can be changed without draining down the system. Always remember, thermostatic radiator valves will need to have the sealing off cap fitted to enable complete isolation. Turn off both the flow and return valves. Before removing the old radiator, measure it up so as to purchase the correct replacement size, eliminating the need to alter your pipework. Now, with 2 pairs of grips, loosen the valve and tail. Place a bowl underneath and open the air vents. This will force the water out of the radiator. After the water has drained, place some tissue in the valves. This will stop any drips going onto the carpet. Turn the radiator upside down to stop any water spillage. Some tails are available which have already been coated with a sealant. These will not require an application of PTFE tape. If you do not have these pre-coated tails, use the PTFE tape as we mentioned earlier. Fix these tails into the radiator as before. Place the new radiator onto the brackets. Apply some sealing paste to the valves and then tighten up. Now, remove the thermostatic radiator valve sealing off cap and refit the thermostatic radiator valve. Reopen the valves and bleed off the air. This process should never be done with the central heating pump on. All you'll do is pump air into the system. Fault finding. One of the most common causes of your central heating system not working is when the pump has not been used for some time, for example, throughout the summer months. Remove the center screw. Manually turn the pump with a screwdriver. Replace the cover and test. If this process fails to work, the pump will probably need replacing. When bleeding air from your central heating system after any alterations, always start to bleed air from the lowest radiator, finishing with the highest, and never have the pump running while carrying out this procedure. If you find that you're having to bleed air from your radiators on a frequent basis, you may be experiencing one of 2 possible problems. Firstly, your heating system could be producing hydrogen, which will be produced from a corroding radiator. This can be controlled by corrosion-proofing your system. This is a liquid treatment that is added to your central heating header tank. Follow the manufacturer's instructions. Secondly, over-pumping can occur by having your heating pump set too high. Reduce the speed setting until the problem is controlled.